Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, I'm Cyclone. Welcome to more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. So we are looking today at the Bristol to Exeter route. You're going to notice that we're on the Standard tab. This route was released by Just Trains in 2011. It was originally available on their website. It is no longer. However, it does remain available on Steam and does bundle with the European Loco and Asset Pack and the US Loco and Asset Pack. So if you're looking for a route that will give you both of those packs, this is one where you can do that. Once again, this route has been remade in various other routes, so you don't even need to get this route to drive this segment of the track. You can do this in any of those routes. And I kind of gave a hint, I think, of some of those in the previous video as well, somewhere else. But yeah, this is the original one that is no longer available on their website. If you get Southwestern Expressways, for example, you're going to have the entire Bristol to Exeter segment covered, plus others, so you can actually do a longer drive, or you can stay within this route if you want to, but on that route instead. So you can have scenarios that all function on that route together instead of having this separate route. In any case, I decided I want to go ahead and start looking at the Bristol to Exeter corridor by looking at this original route. So this route takes us from Bristol Temple Meads, where we finish the South Wales coastal route, and connects us to Exeter, where we start the Riviera line. So after exploring this route, we will have seen the entire route from Cardiff down to Paddington, where it splits off at Newton Abbot. We have not gone yet to Plymouth. We are eventually going to do the South Devon Main Line and the Cornish Main Line as well, and then eventually introduce the rest of the Western Main Lines. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and stick with doing these little segments. And Bristol to Exeter seems like a very important segment to unlock several routes that we can then move into, having looked at this route and continuing from there to build out more of the journey across the southern UK, which is what I'm kind of working to do here. The Cornwall area, for example, is one of the areas I want to visit on the UK route, which is why I'm going to go to Penzance very soon as well on the Cornish Main Line. Story about that route as well that we'll get into later. Anyway, a number of the scenarios you see here, I don't remember what these top three are, but you see they're Class 67 scenarios. I must have gotten them from UK Train Sim or somewhere like that. I don't remember. Maybe they were Steam Workshop scenarios I installed and forgot about. So actually 5 scenarios. There's a Just Trains 221 and a Just Trains 60 there as well, with some service numbers. You see another one with the Class 20 under that. So I think this was a scenario pack that I downloaded. I think it was from UK Train Sim. I installed that pack, but I haven't done anything with it yet. There's also another set down here that I did get at UK Train Sim, which again closes in about a week and a half. So if you need anything, get it. It might be a week by the time you see this video. And this BXLT pack is Deluxe Trains. There's a number of routes for a number of packs rather for a number of routes, not just UK, even a couple American ones and some other ones like in Italy, the Netherlands, and other places as well. So he covers a wide gamut of places. He has a lot of stock he uses for the scenarios. I would hate to see the size of his folder. That's all I'm gonna say. Might be smaller than mine still, actually. So scrolling down further, you can see some Armstrong Powerhouse Class 142 scenarios. This is from another UK Train Sim pack of 6 scenarios. It actually includes a couple scenarios for a route that is available, I think, only on UK Train Sim. But I think it was made available on another collection as well, recently in the last year. That another website does have that now as a freeware pack download from the UKTS freeware series of files. So that is available somewhere else, I think, even when UK Train Sim closes. Then we're going to get to the scenarios that actually do come with the route. Now, first of all, the JT 153, 67, and Voyager, those come with the actual packs. If you buy the 153 or the 67 or the Voyager, these scenarios come with those packs. So we'll get to looking at those scenarios when we explore those packs, because it'll take us across multiple routes to look at the different the train and the different settings. So we'll look at those in the future as well, for sure. But the first scenario that comes with the route is Fairwater Shunt, which is a Class 47 scenario. Then the one that we're going to look at today, which is Northward Bound, which is a Class 43, also known as a high-speed train, like the one on the Merchant Venture, which is the next one we're going to be doing. You also see Snow on the Black Downs, Test Run, the Cornish Explorer, Folly Tanks, the previously mentioned Merchant Venture, and the Torbay Express. Then we get down to a workshop route under that, as you can see when I scrolled there. So we're going to be doing Northward Bound today. The first of the 8 scenarios will be Northward Bound. And we're going to be doing that because this will give us our route exploration. This will be our full route look from Exeter St. David's to Bristol Temple Meads. We're going to be leaving the Exeter St. David's. We're going to be passing by the track that takes us to Barnstaple, and also the additional route that was reopened there. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm going to kick myself. But there's 2 train routes that are going to venture off from that same path in 2 different directions. But we're going to see them go in the same direction, and the track will end for us as we continue onwards on the different track to go towards Bristol Temple Meads. There'll be a couple other tracks that branch off as well. These will be other routes. I'll try to call them as I come across them, and maybe even show you the map in a couple places to show you what they are. But other than that, I'm going to try to maintain the view in the cab so you can see the full cab ride from Exeter St. David's to Bristol Temple Meads. This will be our first look at this segment of track. I'm excited to see this one, especially because there's no career points to worry about. Let's get started. No message box. Let's see what we have to do here. We're going to bring up the information. We're going to bring that up to get ready to go. I'm going to make sure the headlights are on. They're not on. They're on. Back to our nice view. Let's read our box very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause for a moment while we read this, mainly because I want to make sure we don't get distracted. So, hello driver. Due to a late arrival of the previous driver at Plymouth, we are currently running about 15 minutes late. First thing you do is load, unload passengers. Okay. And as soon as you get the right of way, you may depart. You are booked to stop at Tiverton Parkway. You can see this on the below, by the way. Taunton and Bristol Temple Meads, where you are scheduled to arrive at 19:30. But it's unlikely Worle is on 2 lines for some reason. It's unlikely you'll meet this time due to the late running of the train. Try your best to make up as much time as possible, though. Please note that due to the delay, a slower stopping service has had to be let in front, which departed Exeter St. David's 4 minutes ago. Okay, that is noted, so you can see our stops as mentioned. 75 miles to get to Bristol Temple Meads. So you can see there's some very, very... Oh, wow, from Taunton to Bristol Temple Meads. We're skipping a lot of stations on that run. So we're going to have a 16-mile journey to Tiverton Parkway, pardon me. Another 14 to get to Taunton, and then the remaining stretch of the run is 45 miles of non-stop driving all the way to Bristol Temple Meads. And you should recognize the entrance to Bristol Temple Meads because we saw it in South Wales Coastal when we were driving from Bristol Temple Meads to Cardiff, starting south of Bristol Temple Meads in that route. So we should be familiar with this entry from that scenario. I'm curious to see how it looks now. Let's get the game unpaused, and we're going to go ahead and get ourselves set to go here. So as soon as we get the right of way, we're good to go. We have the green signal. We just need the right of way. Right of way, driver. There's our right of way. Let's bring this off. That'd be a good idea. And I saw a car going across the crossing up there. Let's hope the gates come down. There's a backhoe working over there. I can see him over in the right side. Poke the head out the window. As is typical, we look at the backhoe. The crossings work, by the way. You saw that? We're passing a yard, which is going to be fairly empty. I think I saw one train hanging out in there, if I saw that right. We passed one of those radio change points. It's something we're not going to worry about, but train drivers in real life can change their cab radio, and really should be doing that after passing a certain point. So we can see the yard out the window here. Nothing there today. Everything's out for service today, apparently. The reason I'm hanging around on this view right now is because we are eventually going to see a track leaving off to the left. That is the track to Barnstaple. The Dartmoor Railway, I believe, is the other railway that connects to that area as well after a couple stations. So I think that railway goes off in that direction as well, if I remember the name correctly. That is not the Dartmoor Railway. So all tracks have now rejoined us. And now that all tracks have rejoined us, the Dartmoor is going to pop off, and the Barnstaple line as well, popping off right there, and off it goes. So we're going to get back into the main cab as I show you a quick peek at the map. You can actually see where we're going to be going. And in this first stretch, there's the route to Barnstaple, as I said. So if we follow that route, you're going to see that, again, it does end, going to Crediton as the next station. We are all the way back here. We're going to be traveling along this route, which does not have any stations on it. There's nothing along it. Right up to Tiverton Parkway. And Tiverton Parkway is, I'm just going to pick it. Right there. That's our first stop, right there, with the train sitting there. So back to our train. And I have not been getting lost speed at all, so let's do that. Our speed is now reaching into the 90s where we ought to be. Now something I remember from driving this train in the previous iteration in another route, I don't think the brakes work very well on this train. In reality, I should have a brake test way back when I was at 25 miles per hour, but in the game environment, we know it's going to be the same. I think I saw a whistle board. I did saw a whistle board. As says Tweety Bird about a certain cat. This is a somewhat bland, featureless portion of the route. We're just going to be driving down, enjoying the lovely scenery. I'll go ahead and pop the head out the right window this time. And we just get to see all the trees going by. Trees and bushes and other forms of foliage. That's what we're going to see. And you can see we are driving number 43207, a cross-country service. Now, something unfortunate is the cross-country has pulled its license from Train Simulator. It used to be one that was available on Steam. It is no longer. Now, I can't say for sure, but I know that the European Loco and Asset Pack, which was part of the original game, did include this train. So I'm assuming that the cross-country in that pack does survive because it is such a basic pack for a lot of things in this game. Removal of that would really be a cripple to a lot of potential players, so that kind of had to be left alone. I think the rights for this pack may have been different than for each individual pack that followed, because it was for the core game, and therefore it continues to be available. I think this is the same with the BNSF trains that were in the US Loco and Asset Pack. You were still able to get those BNSF trains, but you were not able to get any other BNSF trains without the license being allowed to run again. And now that that's allowed, we can get all those trains. Anyway, back in the cab. And to be fair, even if that license did get pulled to the point that the European Loco and Asset Pack could no longer include those trains, I think it's safe to say, I'm a little late on that one, I think it's safe to say that there would be reskins that would be quickly brought out, and those reskins would be used in all the scenarios that use the train. So Yeah, it's one of those integral ones that is needed. It is very much needed. We're now 6.5 miles away from Tiverton Parkway. We're going to be having a little bit of an uphill stretch here, it looks like, so we might lose a little bit of speed here. I'm perfectly okay with that. Actually, this might not be the stretch, so I think it is. I thought it was. Ah, there's a little bit of slowdown. Speed is fluttering just a little bit there, and now we are losing a tiny bit of our speed. But again, I'm okay with that. It's not expected we're going to be on time, so we're not being rated by that. But if we nonetheless wind up being on time, we'll probably be rewarded. No, I'm kidding. We're just doing our job. 4 miles to go to Tiverton Parkway. We're going to have another little bit of an uphill stretch here. I'm not going to worry about the speed anymore because we are getting close to our first stop here. So speed is not as much of a concern for me now. In fact, I may even take the throttle off in a moment. Completely. With 2.5 miles to go, I have removed the throttle at this point. I'm going to go ahead and coast. We should be there in less than 2 minutes at our current speed. We want to slow down for the stop. There's the station. I'm going to go ahead and apply a brake. Try to get a little bit of our speed off. We're still over a mile away, but like I said, the brakes on this train don't work very well. Well, look at where I am right now. I'm at 42%, and I am not seeing a lot of slowdown. This is very, very concerning. So I'm going to bump that up to about a 75. That's starting to lower our speed. We're within a mile of the station now, and I think I'm just losing speed at a good pace now. So I'm going to move the brakes back to 65%. I'm going to actually ease them back even more now. Because I think we're at a range where we can stop now. Whistle board. I've removed the brakes completely at this stage, as you may have heard by that hissing. I will reapply them in a moment so I can start bringing the train to a full stop. I don't want to come into the station too slowly, because that will ensure we don't get our time back. Looks like that train's about to leave. Or I might just open the doors. Not sure. So we're going to increase the brake for our stop as we are here at our first stop of Tiverton Parkway, stopping today at platform number 2, and the doors have been opened. Right away, driver. Leaving Tiverton Parkway, our next stop is Taunton. Once again, we have another very nearly featureless section of track, but there is one interesting thing that I can point out, and that is going to be the exit to the West Somerset Railway, which I believe is still visible to this day to some aspect. Now it shows the track is being lifted between Bishop's Lyndhurst and this line on the actual map, so maybe the track is not there. I thought it was, but maybe it isn't. It says it's a lifted track. I think that's a mistake on the map, or it's just not showing up in any kind of coding on this map. I'm not sure which the case is. I think it's still there, because trains have to get there somehow for their tourist draws. But there are no other stations along the way to North Fitzwarren Junction, which is where the railway does come off. So I'm going to keep an eye out for tracks going away from both directions. That's going to be where the West Somerset Railway is, and we have explored the West Somerset Railway. We've seen that route. You can't go faster than 25 miles per hour. It's super annoying. It's slow. It's meant for a nice, wonderful, I don't know, wedding or something like that. I don't know. But it's not a place where we're typically going to drive very fast. So even though I have stuff for it, I haven't been back yet. It's a very slow route. I like to go fast. We will get to the 47 and 03 on that route, though. I do want to get to those scenarios and re-explore that route. It's been a while since we've been there. I think it was route number 15 in my collection, and I'm now up to 43 or 44, I think this is. I think this is number 44 we're doing. There is a tunnel somewhere on this part of the journey as well. I don't think we've gone through it yet. I'm looking for the White Ball Tunnel, which, no, that's not it either. We're taking a right turn right now, which I think takes us toward the tunnel. So here I said it was featureless. No, this tunnel is a feature. Teach me to say something is featureless. I think this is the tunnel right here. This is definitely the tunnel right here. Now, old railworks to occlusion, ladies and gentlemen. You can see very clearly on each side of you and the track. It would not be this light in real life. Do not expect it to be this light in real life. We'll take the opportunity to look in the cab. No, we're not, because we're in a tunnel. Never mind. Now we'll look in the cab. No, we won't. It's talking less. I'm speeding. I let the speed go on a downhill. I'm on a downhill. That was a little sloppy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get our speed back down. That was just a little sloppy. Hey, they want us to make up time. This is how I make up time. It is a very heavy downhill, so this is one that can catch a driver off guard if they're not ready. I'm trying to do a minimal enough brake that I can just hold my speed. This is a little challenging because 8% gain speed, 10% loses speed. I'm trying to get to 9% right now. There it is. And that is also losing speed. So there's no really good speed to, or no throttle setting to hold the train at to maintain speed. It seems 9% you're still gaining, 10% you're losing pretty fast. So you're going to have to just keep the brake going back and forth between above and below the 9.5% mark. Meanwhile, we're now at the bottom of that gradient. Well, actually, the major one. We're still on a gradient, but not as heavy. There is a slow gain at this point. There's a crossover track, so that's some emergency crossover tracks like on the West Coast Main Line North. We're now 6 3/4 miles from Taunton. The West Somerset Railway is about a mile or two before Taunton, so we're going to see that in about 4 miles. We have a yellow signal. That is a double yellow, so we don't have to have any kind of panic. But notice the next signal, the red one, is very, very close behind the one that we have to pass next. So we do need to get the speed down to a manageable speed for yellow signal travel. We have to be ready to bring that train down immediately. That means I'm going to bring the speed down probably into about the 50s for now until I get green signals again. I think that's a good, safe option here. $55 for now. There it is. That looks like a double yellow aspect. So I'm going to keep going at this speed because I have maintained speed between those signals. Or a following distance, it looks like. It means the train ahead of us has gone past this very large block that is in front of us. So whether we're going to have a single or double yellow up ahead, or whether it's quick enough to give us a green at this stage, we do not know. Looks like a yellow. Once again, it appears to be a double yellow aspect. I'm going to risk speeding up just a little bit more, back up to about 60, because I want to keep this interesting as well. Looking back at our information at the start of the scenario, you can see that we were expected to arrive at 1930. With a 45-minute drive behind a stopping service, this is unlikely unless we can get around it. And even then, I don't think it's possible. So, yeah, it's a good thing we're not being graded for our stopping time on this one. It would certainly be a bit of a challenge. The good news is the stopping service only has to stop at Taunton just like we do, I'm pretty sure. So the fact that it's going to be ahead of us means we're going to probably have a red signal before Taunton. So it'll give us a good chance to look at the West Somerset Railway as we drive by. That does look like a double yellow. So I think we found roughly the pace of the train in front of us just by sheer chance. We'll know we're at a good pace or not if we see a green signal or a single yellow signal. If we see either of those, then we know we're either falling further behind or catching up to the train, and we will adjust our speed accordingly at that time. So ahead we do see another yellow signal. I'll zoom in on this one. It is a double yellow signal. It looks like it's raining now. Interestingly enough, we don't have any rain on our windshield, so it looks like the being one of the old Railworks model trains, they didn't include weather effects. Therefore, we're not getting rain on our windshield, and that means that our wipers aren't even needed. It's like we're in another dimension. Make sure we still have a double yellow up ahead. If we do, we'll move our speed up a little bit again. Had a little lag there. That is, I think, the West Somerset Railway that is now rejoining us. We have a flashing yellow. We'll worry about that in a second. It is a flashing single yellow. We're going to be junctioning off here, so I'm going to slow our speed down a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. Or I'm not going to do anything. That works too. So a quick peek at the map just to show you. There's the West Somerset Railway. You can see this track for some reason is not completed. They tore up that track apparently. But that's the route to the West Somerset Railway towards Bishop Lydiard. It just says WSR. And there's the station up ahead. I knew that was going to be close as soon as we saw that track join. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit more brakes on because we need to get those brakes to work. There's a nice bridge. Sure, it looks even nicer in the newer versions of the route today. I think the yellow aspects... Nope, that's a green aspect now. That is 100% a green aspect. There's our transfer. Platform number 5 at Taunton. There's some houses very close to the track. And this is Taunton Station. Apparently this is a disused section of platform. You can see the foot grass on it. Now we're in the actual platform. I'm putting a heavier brake on so we can get our train slowed down properly. Let's see who this train ahead of us is, shall we? That is the 2C56 Penzance to Bristol Temple Meads. I assume that is who we were following. We're going to see what kind of train this is. We might be getting around it now. We might get to go first. No, it has a yellow and we have a green. That's interesting. Yeah, we are going to get to go first. So when the track merges, we're going to be the one getting the line. Almost went a little too far there. In fact, according to the HUD, we are going too far. I think we are right within the ballpark for opening the doors at Taunton, platform number 5. Right away, driver. Looks like this train hasn't even left yet, even though it has a yellow signal. And I saw green signals all over the lines on the other side there. In any case, leaving Taunton, our next stop is 45 miles away at Bristol Temple Meads. So for the rest of this journey, we're going to be skipping any stations we see up to the end of the route. And we're going to be seeing possibly some tracks leaving and joining respectively. In fact, the first one of those is very, very soon. We're going to be coming up on the Reading to Taunton line, or Reading to Taunton line, however you want to refer to that as. We are apparently going very slow. Boy, do we feel inadequate now. So by this point, I believe we passed a line that no longer exists. That line would have been the, it's only showing my map as a CHD. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It went off at Creech Junction. We're going to be continuing around a curve beyond that, going to the left. And then beyond that curve, we're going to come to Coglow Junction, which is where the Reading to Taunton line exits. think that split is coming up right around this point. There it goes. That's the Bristol Taunton line. There was another track that did exist shortly beyond that exit, right around here. That track has since been lifted, but it went to join that same track. In fact, it looks like it's still there in this version of the route, but nowadays it looks like it's an abandoned track or has been lifted. So it looks like it's there in this route. I'm going to show you the map just to indicate what I'm talking about. One of these tracks here, well, actually no, they're both there now. There was a different track that went off. Okay, I'm not sure what that was. Okay, I'm not sure what that first track was. Oh well. Either way, there was a section of track that's no longer there. And I guess it was gone in this version of the route too. Somewhere to the right of us, I'm not sure if it's just some kind of miniature railway area, or if it's just an old station that is still open for tourism, but not for really for trains. But Weston-super-Mare is somewhere to the right. It won't be in our DLC at all, I don't believe, but it is somewhere over to our right. We're going to be crossing, I believe, under the M5, coming up here, and that's going to take us to Bridgwater. Bridgwater is not a stop for us today. We've hit 100 miles per hour, so I better take the throttle off. This might be the turn taking us under the M5. I had another moment of lag there. So sometimes, just to explain, I kind of put this in some subtitle text where I saw it happening. There are times where I catch a significant lag spike, or significant enough to notice in playing the scenario that I will call it out like I just did there. And here's the M5 I was speaking about, by the way. And I just saw another little bit of lag there. So sometimes I will call it out if I see it. If I don't see it, or I feel it's not significant enough, I will not call it out. But sometimes a significant skip of video appears where I don't see it because the computer just decides it doesn't want to record for half a second. And for that reason, I never see that video. And those kind of skips, I can't do anything about. I don't even know they're happening because the recording software decided not to get it. Here is Bridgwater Station. And a siding going off to the left there. Looks like a shed of some form at Bridgwater. Or at least a storage for some freight cars, which were there today. We are still about 30, as of Bridgwater, we were about 33 miles from Bristol Temple Meads. So I'm expecting one or two more stations along this journey, just by the pacing of the stations so far. Highbridge and Burnham will be the next station that we do see. I'm at 100 once again. Let's go ahead and drop the throttle off. So the station is fairly straight up to Highbridge and Burnham. We're going to eventually have a left turn slightly as we go through the station. I can see it coming up here, actually. Or maybe I'm imagining that. We are increasing to 110 miles per hour up ahead. Oh, you bet we're going to do that. Very, very close, so I'm not going to drop too much speed off my throttle this time, just a tiny bit. And then we should be entering the 110. I'm worrying I might have looked down as we passed Highbridge and Burnham. If I did, I might have missed it on the call out. Okay, a third track is split off. Either this is a siding or we're entering the station. Well, I can go to 110, by the way, so let's do that. As you may have just noticed, that was Highbridge and Burnham Station. As of the station, we were a little less than 26 miles from Bristol Temple Meads. Sorry, that's a little less than 27, because we were just then about 26.5 miles from Bristol Temple Meads. I tell you, the 5 and the 6, you can't tell them apart when from a distance, from your screen there. Those trees just popped into view for me. I don't think I saw them a moment ago. We have a straight section of track here. We're going to eventually take a right curve. This right curve is of interest to us because when that right curve happens, there will be a track leaving us going to Weston-super-Mare. And then after Weston-super-Mare, that will take a very, very sharp curve and it will rejoin our track a little further ahead. So it has its own separate turnoff to minimize the traffic at that station. It also makes it easier for traffic that is express like we are to not have to go through that station because I have a feeling you have to slow down on that very sharp curve to be able to make that station. So if you're not going there, you don't have to worry about that. You just get to go straight through at your fast speed. on the normal track. Right now our speed is holding beautifully at 107. Our speed does return to 100 miles per hour a little further ahead, so I'm going to see if I can coast my way down without having to hit the brakes. If I can do that, I'll do it. It looks like the train is going to try to do that for me. This 100 may be where the curve begins. Or maybe that was a curve right there. We have a curve right now, just slightly. So I'm watching for a track to leave straight ahead as we go to the right. That means we're going to see it exit to the left. There, I just gave it a little bit of a brake to make sure it went down. I just caught another spur of the leg there. There's the track to Weston-super-Mare. And we're soon going to see a track from Weston-super-Mare. A little further along this curve. I would show you the map, but it actually will not take long to reach that track. So I'm going to just let you see it rejoin, how quickly it rejoins. That was a significant piece of leg there. So there is some performance issues, and I have heard of these performance issues with Western main lines as well. I can't speak to that as I have not yet run the route, but I will get a look at that at some point as well when I do go to the full route. Looking forward to the 6-hour scenarios. Sometimes it's taking a little longer than I thought for that track to rejoin. Either that or I am a blind bat and missed it. Yeah, I'm thinking it should have been back by now. Well, I can tell you this, if we see the next platform at Worle, that means I missed the track rejoining. There's the track rejoining right there. And that did come from another station called Weston-Milton. So there's actually two stations on that section of track. Weston-Milton is very close to where that track rejoined. So when you exit on that track, if Weston-Milton is a stop, you're going to be stopping immediately. And now we're going to see Worle. Somewhere to the right of us is a location called Puxton Park. Puxton Park has its own little miniature railway from what I can see. So just over in that direction somewhere, behind all the trees, Buxton Park is somewhere over there. Coming up is the station at the intersection of the Clevedon branch and the Cheddar Valley branch, both lines which no longer exist today, and therefore most likely are not represented on this route. Where those tracks join this one, shortly after that is the station of Yatton. So when we come to the next track, we will have just passed those branches, or next station rather, we will have just passed where those two branches would have rejoined the track. So you can imagine Yatton would have been a very busy station back in the day. With those lines, it's just another station along the way nowadays. See the signs here, which makes me think this was where some of the trains from the branch might have gone. So Yatton might be very close now. There's another one of those crossover tracks. Yep, this is Yatton. I was right on the ball with that one. So I imagine that was kind of like a storage area for some of the cars or the trains themselves that use those tracks. We're going to be coming to a station next called Nailsea and Backwell, which is a little different than another station that I think has the word Nailsea in it. So that is a different station, using a word that I've seen before. As of right now, we're 11 miles from Bristol Temple Meads. This might be the last station before Bristol Temple Meads. Actually, no, I take that back. Parson Street and Bedminster are going to be coming up as well, but we're going to be looking for Nailsea and Backwell, probably about 8 miles to go, and then those other two will be very, very close. We have a yellow aspect, and that is a single yellow aspect. We have to slam those brakes on. Something is going on up ahead. Yeah, 1930 was our original arrival time scheduled. We're not going to make that anymore. I'm easing off the brakes for a moment. We're going at a good enough speed now that I think we can do this. It is a yellow aspect up ahead, so I'm going to bring the speed back up to about 50 miles per hour. It is still a yellow aspect. I'm at 50, so I'm going to hold my speed roughly around that. So there is our yellow and the warning for it. It is now a green signal, so even though we're being cleared to line speed, I'm not going to go line speed because I know we were following a train and we were catching up to it. So we want to make sure we don't go the speed limit at this stage, and we try to maintain a speed that is reasonable for following a train we know is in front of us. I'm going to halt at 60 miles per hour for right now as a rough estimate of what we should be going. If we find a green signal up ahead, I can increase that speed. Here is Nailsea and Backwell. I suspect we were just following another stopping train, and that's probably why we had to slow down. So we might be getting stopped again at the other stations up ahead. The next station is Parson Street. We're not going to be stopping again. We do have a green signal. I think it was a stopping service. So I'm going to go ahead and increase our speed a little bit more, and I'm going to see if we continue to maintain green signals. If we do, I'm just going to head back up to line speed. Because by that point, the other train should be a little bit away from us. That is a green signal, so I am increasing my speed now to line speed. But we're going to be ready to respond to a yellow signal if we see one, because we could have the train stopping at Parson Street up ahead. Or we may get junction onto a track to go around it, whatever the case may be. We have a speed limit of 90 miles per hour up ahead. We're going to go ahead and keep our speed at that for now. There's no reason to go up to 100 now that we know this. Of course, if I were a real train driver, I'd already know to be slowing down up ahead. But again, it's my first day here. It also helps in case the train ahead was still going under the limit. Gives us more stopping leeway as well. This is a dangerous spot for a yellow signal. It better be a double yellow if it's a yellow. Nope, we have a green. I see yellow. I think the train ahead is stopping at Parson Street. That is a stopping train that is ahead of us. So we need to get this thing down to a full stop pronto. I'm going to try and get down quickly enough that I can maintain a little bit of speed in case we get a green. Or rather a yellow at this point. That'll do. We do have a yellow up ahead now, so I'm going to increase speed. But not too much, because I'm pretty sure up ahead we're going to still have that train stopping at Bedminster. And after Bedminster, we have our left turn into Bristol Temple Meads. So yep, that is a yellow signal. I think it is now a double yellow. I didn't notice if it was a double yellow or a single yellow the previous signal, but because it's a double yellow, I'm going to go ahead and move to a higher speed because we have a little bit more leeway with a double yellow. Not sure what we're being warned for. Oh, we're being warned for the 25. Okay. That might be a junction speed limit or something. I don't know what that 25 is for. But I'm not going to take chances. 40 if we take the junction here. We are only 1 3/4 miles from Bristol Temple Meads. So maybe the 25 is indeed... Actually, I think it is 25 as you approach. But I was just about to say I don't see the sign. The quote was going to be, but I don't see the sign yet. The sign just appeared as I started to say that. At the end of the HUD, 9/10 of a mile away. So I can go a little bit faster for right now. Then I'll bring it back down. We have a double yellow, so I don't have to stop before the 25. That 25 also probably explains the yellows when I got them, because, yeah, the train ahead of us had to slow down too, and that means we were catching up to it very fast. So if you're in a long line of trains, let's say there's 3 or 4 trains behind you and one ahead stops at 25, everyone going back has to slow down for this train. So that means you got a very slow drive in if you're the guy at the back. Welcome to Parson Street. Or no, welcome to Bedminster, sorry. That was Parson Street, the other station. So this is Bedminster. Looks like this part of the platform is not used by passengers, interestingly enough. And now we are literally at the yellows, actually no, the next signal. The signal after this is the signal that we started the previous South Wales coastal scenario at, the one that went to Cardiff. So up ahead is the signal we started that scenario at, approaching Bristol Temple Meads. We are now on the 7-track layout approaching Bristol Temple Meads. We are at a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. We're going to enter that speed limit right now. We're getting the indication of the signal ahead, which appears to be a red signal. So we are going to come to a stop right now. Once the train we're following goes to, we got our yellow. I was just about to say, once the train we're following gets into its platform and is safely behind another signal, we will then get our yellow. And as I was saying that, I got interrupted. Notice the sign next to the yellow signal says no AWS. So for the signal at Bristol Temple Meads, there will be no AWS warning. Going the other way, you would see an AWS sign, and that would mean AWS resumes. So if you were reading the manual for this route at some point, you saw the no AWS sign, you're like, well, that could be a very interesting section of route. It's only one section. It's only one block as you enter the station. So it's not really much to be concerned about. So there's a couple platforms starting. There's a train at the one on the left. There's one ahead of us, which is the one we're going to be pulling into. Now there's two different platforms on this big section of platform here. This is two separate platforms we're looking at. I'm going to slow down so I can make sure I stop where I want to, because we're not going to have an AWS warning us where we need to stop. You see we have destination boards. They appear to be sort of working here, which I like. There's a green signal way over on a track way off to the other direction. That may be to lock the red signal by pathing it in front of us. We're not going to be able to get the entire train into the green, so I assume it just would stop at both platforms. And by the way, something worth noting, see the AWS sign? Yeah. Beyond this signal, the AWS resumes, and we're stopping literally on a dime right in front of it. Look how close we are to that signal. That's a perfect stop right there, ladies and gentlemen. Probably a little further back if you want to see the signal, but I think this train turns around and goes the other way anyway. So we're going to go ahead and open the doors here at Bristol Temple Meads, platform 5. This is the end of the service. Let's look at our train. So a couple of yellow signals along the way, but other than that, that was not too bad. I actually enjoyed that first run, and this was a very good, sufficient introduction to the route for you. We're going to go on the Weston-super-Mare route on a future scenario. When that is, I don't know. Which scenario it is, I don't know. But stay tuned to see a scenario with that segment as well. It may even be a full stopping service, I don't know. Maybe a partial stopping service along part of the route. Anyway, another driver will now take over for the journey to Leeds. You can take a rest now. Hopefully in one of the passenger cabins. In any case, let's, I'm just going to say, because that's not a cruise scenario, so I'm just going to stop right here. I hope you enjoyed that scenario. See you next time for another scenario on this route. In the meantime, have a wonderful day, evening, and night, whatever it is for your part of the world. Like this video, and subscribe to the channel. It is free, and hit the bell. You'll know when I post my next video. And stay tuned for that next time. That's going to probably be tomorrow's scenario. So I'll see you for that. I'm Cyclone. Bye-bye.